Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unpopular Opinion. I'm your host, Mika Gat, joined alongside my weekly panelists of Ayush and Mr. Kyle Pucci. And today we are very happy to have a very special guest, Mr. Jack Daly, coming on the show after his amazing win on the last episode of the Sports Jeopardy game show.
Right,
Mr. Kyle
Spicy Poochies, baby.
Yeah, Spicy Poochies. Well, today we're back to our regular.
That was highway robbery.
Shout out Ayush.
All right, well, we're back to our regular show format. The Sports Jeopardy was too crazy, so we're going back to the regular stuff. And there's a lot of sports to be talked about, especially before the NFL draft coming up in 2 weeks. We wanted to get a little bit of the current NFL and NBA topics out of the way. The biggest one recently, a very famous New England Patriots player, Mr. Julian Edelman, number 11, announced his retirement from the NFL after being released by the Patriots due to a failed physical. And there has been a lot of rumors circulating around Edelman's standings in terms of the all-time ranks, and that means, will Julian Edelman make it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio? So I want to hear these three NFL fanatics. I want to hear what they want to say about, I mean, two of them are Patriots fan. One of them is a Patriots hater, and I'm going to try to stay out of it because I'm going to get a headache. So let's just start it off. Let's start with our guest, Mr. Jack Daly. Jack, what do you think? Is Edelman a Hall of Famer?
No. Don't get me wrong. Had a great career, but in no way, shape, or form is he a Hall of Famer.
Do you think Eli's a Hall of Famer?
Of course.
Then
Yes.
Wait, whoa. That's not the case.
Eli's a Hall of Famer, then so is Edelman.
No,
Super Bowl MVPs.
different
It's the exact same case.
Ayush, don't you change the subject. Listen to me. Don't you change the subject. Eli's been to the Pro Bowl. Eli's been a Super Bowl MVP twice. He beat the 18-0 Patriots. Okay? He deserves it. Let's see here. Edelman, you know what he's done? Never made the Pro Bowl. Oh my God, you're garbage.
Jack's stealing all my points, but keep going.
I know he was a Super Bowl MVP. So was Hines Ward. Is Hines Ward in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? No.
Think Hines Ward second all time in playoff catches, playoff yards.
Ayush will get your chance to talk. Let Jack Daly make his opening argument.
1 point.
I don't care if you lead in playoff categories. That doesn't matter.
In the playoffs, is that why?
Doesn't matter. You're just trying to change the subject because you're mad.
No, Edelman's a Hall of Famer. It's not.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
You're like one of the 5 billion people to actually believe that in this world.
Edelman has 620 career receptions. That ranks 75 on the all-time list.
Ooh.
Okay? Jordy Nelson. That's just ahead of Jordy Nelson. I thought you'd like that, Mika.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that.
And his 6,822 yards ranks 156, just ahead of Larry Centers, a fullback.
All right. I want Kyle to have a chance. Jack, we'll come back to you in a little bit. Kyle, all right, let's hear your opening argument. Edelman a Hall of Famer or no?
In no way, shape, or form, Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer. Coming from a Patriots fan who absolutely loves Julian Edelman. I made the argument that he was better than OBJ at one point when he was good. It's just think back to the Hines Ward point. Hines Ward in his career almost doubles Julian Edelman's stats in the regular season. He won Super Bowl MVP too. It's not like Edelman, he won Super Bowl MVP. That means he should be in the Hall of Fame. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that. And Ayush, you know what? Oh, I knew it. I knew you were going to bring Eli Manning into this discussion. It's a different conversation.
No, it's not. Their cases are exactly the same.
No, it's not. When it comes, you are just completely ignoring the point that regular season stats for wide receivers is what matters. It doesn't matter about Super Bowl rings. It doesn't matter in this case. It's a wide receiver. And Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls as a quarterback. Eli Manning is also top 10 in passing yards ever, which is another reason for his Hall of Fame case. Edelman doesn't. Jack, would you like to repeat that again? How many Pro Bowls did Edelman make in his career?
0.
Egg.
Nada.
Goose egg. Big goose egg. As much as I've made. The difference is I've never played in the NFL. Has he made any All-Pro teams? Any? No, he didn't make any of them. How many 1,000-yard receiving seasons did he have? 3 1,000-yard receiver seasons out of I don't know, about the 14 years he played in the league. It's not good enough. He doesn't have the stats. He's not.
Don't tell the full story of him.
That
Like,
doesn't mean.
Ayush, let's hear your argument. Ayush, I want to hear what you want to say.
No, I'm not even done with my point yet.
All right.
It doesn't. It's also, and just a hot take, Edelman is a complete product of Tom Brady. Nothing else. It's a product of Brady. That's what
200 yards with Cam Newton this year.
How do you look? How do you look with Cam Newton this year?
Was injured. He got injured in week 4. He still had 200
You know
yards.
what? And guess what? You can't even bring up Cam Newton because guys like
Good job, Jack.
guys like DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Johnson, and so many other guys put up huge numbers with trash quarterbacks. And as soon as Edelman didn't have Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback ever, he wasn't good. He was not a factor.
yards in 4 or 5 games. I don't know how that's not good.
Yeah, and he sucked in those 4 and other 5 games.
I don't care.
All right, Ayush, let's hear your argument. Why is Edelman?
He was snubbed from the Pro Bowl because it's based off of fan vote.
No, that's Ayush. If he were good enough, he would be in the Pro Bowl.
He had more yards than Juju and Jarvis Landry in 2019. Doesn't make the Pro Bowl because he's a Patriot. I mean, fans don't like the Patriots. Mika doesn't like the Patriots. Jackson doesn't like the Patriots. Unless you're from New England, you don't.
Brady make the Pro Bowl, and why did he make the Pro Bowl every year when he was here?
Because he's the GOAT. You're really gonna leave the GOAT out of a Pro Bowl?
If that's your logic, I hate Ezekiel Elliott. Everybody hates the Cowboys, but Zeke's made the Pro Bowl.
Thank you, Jack. Thank
How
you.
about Dak
That
Prescott?
logic makes no
How about
sense.
Dak Prescott?
No, he's been
You like
snubbed
that?
for people that have been played worse than him just because of their name. Like Brandon Marshall and Allen Robinson made in 2016 with 200 less yards than him.
Okay, so what?
Brandon Marshall in 2016 had 1,600 yards.
That was 2015.
Let's talk about the quarterbacks that they played at. Who did Edelman have and who did Brandon Marshall have? I'm just curious. Think about it.
He
DeAndre
better?
Hopkins is the best receivers in the NFL, and he's played with garbage quarterbacks. I'm not saying I actually kind of disagree with you, Kyle. I don't think Edelman is a product of Tom Brady. I think Edelman is a product of the Patriots system. I think he's a product of what the Patriots.
It's not the Patriots system. That proved last year when Brady won the Super Bowl and the Pats missed the playoffs.
You know what? The Patriots go and make it to the playoffs this year.
Not the Patriots system. It's the Tom Brady system.
No,
that's what it
not.
is. One team, you know what? One team went 7-9. The other team won the Super Bowl when Brady.
One team has 10 people that made the Pro Bowl.
No, they didn't actually.
The Buccaneers only had one player make the Pro Bowl.
Come to think of it, you saying Edelman.
Mika, repeat that. Say it again.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers only had one player on their entire roster.
Evans, Godwin, Barrett.
None of them made the Pro Bowl.
None of them made the Pro Bowl.
None of them made the Pro Bowl.
We all agree they're top 10 in their position, right?
But you know what? Now let me go argue Ayush's point. Technically, that's a fan vote. You're not telling me that those players on the Buccaneers shouldn't have made the Pro Bowl. It shouldn't be just Shaq Barrett. You can't tell me that Mike Evans, Godwin, all those really good players shouldn't have made the Pro Bowl that year. And that maybe it was really the fan vote that they just wanted. I mean, those are the Super Bowl champs.
Not the fan vote. There were better players last year in the Pro Bowl than those guys. I can name you about 4 receivers who were better than those guys last year in the NFC.
Well, Devontae and DeAndre Hopkins.
Justin Jefferson was better than those guys. Stop it, Ayush. He had 1,500 yards as a rookie. He was better than those guys.
He was a number 2 receiver. Mike Evans was a number 1. That's the difference. I see your point.
You can't look at stats and just be like, oh, this guy's better stats. He's better. That's not it.
For Edelman to have those catches when Brady is throwing 5-yard passes down the field. Guys,
he's only running 5 yards would be easier to cover, right?
Ayush, you're just ignoring. You're completely ignoring.
I think he's bad for the Patriots.
Dude, Wes Welker has a better chance at the Hall of Fame than Edelman does. And Wes Welker had 9 1,000-yard receiving seasons. That matters, Ayush. You don't get that.
Right, hold up.
Edelman is a better. Edelman could contribute in special teams. He even played defense for the Patriots for a season or a couple of seasons.
All right, Ayush, hold up. I wanted to ask somebody that's not neutral about Edelman's Super Bowl MVP. Jack, where would you rank Super Bowl 53 in terms of the all-time Super Bowls? Was it one of the better ones, one of the worst ones, one of the more boring ones? Was there anything fun about it?
I mean, it's historic. There was a 28-3 comeback.
No, that's 51. I'm talking about 53. The Rams Patriots.
Rams won. That
The
was
one
No,
where
worst Super Bowl ever.
Okay.
It's
Did-
very
Did Tom Brady have a good game in that Super Bowl?
no, he was awful.
Literally, it
So
was
did
the
they
most
have to
boring
give the
game
MVP
ever,
to
the most
somebody?
boring
Did they
game.
give it just to somebody instead of
somebody
Edelman
who
actually?
had double-digit
because
catches,
somebody-
140 yards.
Somebody
against
on
the Rams
defense should have won that MVP.
Do you think
That game
Stephon
was
Gilmore
like
should have won it?
10-3 the whole
Yes,
game.
Stephon
And
Gilmore
he
should have
catches
won
for
MVP in that
141
Super Bowl.
yards. You're gonna just ignore that?
You think Stephon
Hightower,
Gilmore is- I think
Hightower,
Stephon Gilmore has a better chance to make the Hall of Fame. than
Hightower
Edelman.
or Gilmore should have won that. Dante Hightower had 3
Dude, the
sacks.
only reason we won
That
that
was a
game is because
defensive
Edelman
game.
kept the ball in our hands. The Rams could have had the ball for like 35 minutes that game if Edelman they could guard Edelman.
Yeah,
was
thank
the
you.
only reason we could keep
What
the
the
ball.
final score of that game?
Robert Woods was on complete lockdown that game. It get like that Rams
I'm not
offense. put up
saying
3
Gilmore or Hightower played bad. I'm saying the only reason the Rams didn't win was because Edelman kept giving us third down catches. If
Is
it
that
wasn't
really?
for Edelman,
Or is it because
like,
Stephon Gilmore had that game-ending
No, the
interception?
reason the Rams lost was because they put up 3 points. That's
Yeah,
why they lost
exactly.
that game.
Yeah. Think about it.
They
That's a
would've had
33.
more
They're
possessions,
averaging
though.
33
Yeah,
points
it's
per game.
completely
They go into the
ignored.
playoffs and they got absolutely destroyed.
complimentary
And
football.
it's completely just asinine to say that Edelman is a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he wasn't a really good player. He was a really good player. I'd take him on my roster all day. But like, this is what I mean about how fans underestimate what the Hall of Fame actually is. Like, you need actual numbers. All right.
Yeah, like, that's kind of like me sitting here and arguing Jordy Nelson should be in the Hall of Fame. It's the
Jordy-
same type of credibility.
Jordy Nelson might Jordy Nelson, I think, in his prime, wasn't a better receiver than Edelman, but he has the same chance as getting in as Edelman.
All right, well that's where we
Edelman is
more
Edelman
debate.
is the greatest slot receiver of all time. Yards per game in the playoffs. He's only 1 yard behind Jerry Rice.
Yeah, with Tom Brady as his quarterback.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice
want
and
a
Joe
cookie?
Montana. I
Want a
really don't
cookie?
understand that.
Jack, can you repeat that?
What do you want, a cookie? Like, great job. You got playoff receptions. Big deal.
Teddy is a big deal. A playoff reception is more important.
So playoff receptions is a big deal, but regular season numbers aren't for wide.
I'd rather have playoff numbers than regular season.
Regular season numbers.
in the
mean
playoffs.
5 times.
Wide receivers
left field
matters in the
players
regular.
than the
It's
right
not
field.
like quarterbacks.
All right, wait, so guys, I want to argue just against Ayush. You're talking about playoff numbers. Is Dan Marino a top 5 quarterback all time?
No,
Dan
What?
Marino.
Just leave.
he doesn't.
Dan
No
Marino
rank.
never
There's
won
no
a
rank.
Super Bowl. He made 1 Super Bowl and never won, and he was probably one of the
Yeah,
greatest regular
that's-
season quarterback. Peyton Manning, one of the greatest, probably the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. He
He's third
didn't
best
have.
all time.
Where's his playoff standings? He's not
He has
Brady.
2 rings.
Not Montana.
He had
Are you
2 yeah, so did Eli Manning, and you just said he's not.
You're
a
going to
Hall of
compare
Fame
Peyton Manning
quarterback.
to Eli Manning right now? I mean, we all know.
Eli Manning was a better postseason quarterback than Peyton Manning was. Ayush, it's facts. Peyton Manning is an all-time playoff choker.
You can
I agree
argue
with
about
you.
Eli Manning and Ben
That's the main
Roethlisberger
reason, like,
being better than
people
Peyton Manning in the
Manning's a
playoffs.
goat, like, just
Fact
go
that,
to the
like,
playoffs.
If Hines Ward is not in the Hall of Fame, then that eliminates any chance.
Wait, hold up. Not just how about Devin Hester?
He's not a Hall of Famer.
Not a Hall of Famer, but then how come Edelman is?
Dude, Devin Hester was primarily a special teams player. Like, if Devin Hester is a Hall of Famer, then maybe Matthew Slater has a chance. But like,
Ayush, I don't know how you ignore that Hines Ward almost doubled Edelman's regular season stats and won a Super Bowl MVP, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. How does Edelman have any chance of getting in if Hines Ward hasn't gotten in yet?
look at the plays he's made. Like he's.
You know why, Kyle?
That's
Because he
because-
played under Brady.
You know what? And look at the play David
That's the reason
Tyree
we have rings is because of
against the
Edelman.
Patriots.
If Edelman
Is
doesn't
he
throw
Hall
that
of Fame?
50-yard bomb to Amendola against the Ravens,
Ayush,
the
Ayush.
Seahawks in Super
You're
24.
How many-
gonna
how
base
many-
Hall of
Without
Fame
that catch
on
in Super Bowl
one play.
51, we don't beat the
Fuji, I
Falcons.
got this. I got this.
Without Edelman, we don't beat the Rams in Super Bowl 53. Those are 3 wins. We
No,
win.
without the defense, you don't beat the Rams in Super Bowl 53. They
Ayush,
scored
Ayush,
13
how many
points on you.
career receptions, TD receptions,
Look at his
Edelman have in the regular season?
Just
How
look
many
at his
regular
playoff
season
numbers. That's
touchdowns did
all the
Edelman have?
argument you need.
How many? How many regular season touchdowns does he have?
I don't know.
36.
Like, really? Is that your Hall of Famer right there?
If he
36
makes the Hall of Fame,
touchdowns?
just start handing them out.
and
Just give it out.
14
Just give it out to
This is
everybody.
what I mean. Like,
Give Victor Cruz one for God's sake. Like,
God,
he doesn't
I love
deserve
the Patriots, but Patriots fans make me hate them at the same time because this is what I mean. People who actually think Edelman is in the Hall of Fame, you're either a super biased Patriots fan, you're a moron, or you're not to be taken seriously. I
Which
usually
one-
check
which one
all
did I use?
those boxes.
All 3, okay.
Shut up, dude. Like it's
Dude, it's
look at the playoff. What he's done in the playoffs is only matched by Jerry Rice himself. Like that's not even as debatable.
You don't
Getting a golden jacket
your
should
regular
be based off
your
19
regular
games.
season stats or wide receivers also matter. You
I'd
when you
rather
get
have a-
notice that.
I'd rather have a player who puts up numbers in the postseason than a player that just that's good in the
Let
regular.
me repeat it for you. 19 games should not decide whether or not you get a golden jacket.
If they're the most important games of the year, then yes, they
19
should.
games should not decide whether
Yes,
or
they
not you
should.
get a playoff jacket.
If they're the most
I'm
important.
sorry,
games
a
of the
golden
year,
jacket.
Like, also, not to mention, Julian Edelman was never even in the conversation for best receiver in football. Never in the
any year that's
any year.
quarterback
In
in
his
the NFL.
best years, Mika, he was never mentioned as the best.
Put
Phil
DeAndre Hopkins,
Rivers, Eli
right
Manning,
on
or
the
Big
box.
Ben ever in the
or
conversation. for
Julio
best
Jones or any
quarterback
receiver
in
in the 2010s, would they be any of the top 5 receivers in the 2010s? Put them in the Tom Brady Belichick system. Would they have done the same thing Edelman did?
If DeAndre Hopkins or Julio Jones or one of these other guys are in the system,
Antonio Brown with Brady for 10 years, how would he do?
Look, did you see Antonio Brown his first game as a Patriot? Like, that's exactly the same numbers Edelman gets.
This is just what if scenarios. Like, I mean, like,
and you're using one play scenarios. Thank you. All right,
Well,
you were like,
using playoff
he threw a touchdown against the Ravens in the playoffs.
we win that game if he
You're
doesn't
literally
throw a
using
touchdown.
one play scenarios, but you're
We
complaining.
don't win that game if that play doesn't happen. We don't.
Wait,
win
hold up. You want to talk about one play scenarios? Is Nick Foles a Hall of Famer? Philly Special is one of the most famous
Is
plays.
David Tyree in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, but
that's one game. Edelman's done it like almost every game of the playoffs he's played. Like, he's made those plays.
How about the game? How about the pass he dropped last year against the Titans? Did you mention that pass too? Did you mention that play?
You say Welker has a better chance, but then he dropped the pass.
Does look at his numbers.
Hey, I'm going to give you a quote from a famous Patriot defensive back, Damian Woody. He said this, and I quote,
Dude,
"You
he
could have
has
a great career."
He's not a defensive back.
He's a defensive back. Yes, he is.
No, I guarantee.
And what
you
is he? What is he?
That's not the point. Jack, read the
Whatever
quote.
the heck he is. I don't know. You can have a great career and not be a Hall of Famer. It's okay.
And this is what I mean. Anybody who is a good to really good player, everyone's like, oh, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, it's ridiculous. And it's like, it's just why it's so wrong.
Let me ask you this, Ayush, does Victor Cruz deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
No.
He's had great playoff numbers. Does he deserve
Mario Manningham?
What?
Mario Manningham?
How
Mario Manningham?
How about Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco, who might have in a 10-game stretch is the greatest playoff numbers ever by any quarterback. Not to mention he won a Super Bowl and won Super Bowl MVP. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
He has one ring.
One, okay. That doesn't for a quarterback. Yeah. For Edelman, you can have 5 rings. It doesn't matter.
Edelman should have 4 if he wasn't injured in 20. We would have beat the Eagles if we had Edelman.
No, we would have beat the Eagles if we didn't let up 41 points to a backup quarterback. That's what would have happened. You actually think Brady threw for 500 yards without Edelman, but you're saying that like he was the reason they lost that game? Like, how?
I never said Brady was the reason we lost.
You said Edelman not being there was the reason they lost, even though Brady threw for 500 yards without quote-unquote Hall of Famer Julian Edelman.
You can't just look at stats. Like, the effect on the field he has is great. Is like equal to
Mika, when you watched the Buccaneers last year, did guys like Scotty Miller not remind you of Edelman?
A little bit. I mean, they had the same role. They had the exact same role.
The same role.
Think about James White. What does James White become when Brady left?
Terrible. He was awful. He was a non-factor.
Nobody.
You can't blame it on this season. His dad died in the middle of it.
Ayush, for God's sake, when Brady,
how many excuses can you give Ayush to NFL players?
His dad died in the middle of the season.
He gets paid millions of dollars. Yeah, sure, it doesn't matter. You get paid.
That's something different. But like,
you can't blame me, James White, for not being focused on football.
Ayush, for God's sake, when Brady went to Tampa Bay, before Antonio Brown was signed, Scotty Miller, who's the same player as Edelman, literally a replica, had 3 100-yard games with Tom Brady. It just proves Edelman is not a player without Brady. He wasn't.
I have a mind-blowing stat for you, Ayush. How many playoff touchdowns does Edelman have?
I don't know.
1.
That actually true?
Yeah, I
what game did he have that one touchdown in?
He's got 1 touchdown in 2015.
Wow.
You know what touchdown that was? game-winning touchdown against Seattle.
That's one touchdown.
No,
Out of
that
19 games.
is that in the Super Bowl? I'm pretty sure Malcolm Butler was the reason that you won the Super Bowl, not Julian
A
Edelman.
game-winning touchdown. I didn't say he was the reason we won.
Yeah,
Okay.
with
He also
Somebody-
had 100
He
yards
would
in
have
that
lost
game
if
against
Russell Wilson
Boom.
didn't throw it, so it wouldn't have been a game-winning touchdown.
It was
you
a
remind me-
game-winning touchdown.
Remind me what
Call
Julian
it
Edelman
game.
was when he didn't have Brady.
A 7th-round quarterback from Kent State. That's what he was.
Thank you. Who was seventh round quarterback who was literally just no. He was no one. And then all of a sudden you put him with Brady and he's someone. Danny Amendola, all of a sudden to nobody. He gets put with Tom Brady. Now he becomes an actual factor. Wes Welker.
Nobody with the Rams. Come on.
What?
You know, I'm gonna argue Ayush's side for a second. I do think Edelman's gonna make the Hall of Fame. I really do, but I think he's gonna make it as, you know how they have these like old people awards, like a veteran of the NFL from like 50 years ago, like the offensive guard from the Packers in like the 1960s made the Hall of Fame like last year. That might be Edelman in like 50 years. I can see that happening.
Hold on,
Yeah.
I'm gonna correct myself. He's actually had 5 touchdowns. My mistake. He's had 1 passing touchdown. So I'm gonna correct myself.
Yeah,
there.
obviously wide
Miss
receiver.
Lebda, I'm sorry.
Imagine 36 regular season touchdowns, no Pro Bowls, no All Pros, 5 in the playoffs, and actually
Don't
thinking,
tell the full story. with
thinking
stats.
he's a Hall of Famer. It's ridiculous.
You can't just look at stats for some players, Poochie.
Dude,
Stats don't always tell the full story.
yeah, they actually usually numbers don't lie, Ayush. That's what happens on the field.
You say Marcus Smart is bad and we should trade him. Since Marcus Smart came off his minutes restriction, our defensive rating in the fourth quarter went from worst in the league to the best.
Remind me when we were
That's
talking
not
about
stats.
the
Like,
Celtics and this
Edelman is one of those players. Stats don't tell the full story. The impact that he has on the field is greater than the stats tell you.
Yeah, and how about all the drops? Not to mention he's also led the league in drops 2 times in his career. Edelman has. It's terrible.
Okay? Tyreek Hill had 9 drops this year. Does that mean he's bad?
Who?
Tyreek Hill had like 6.
Yeah,
or
but we're
7.
not arguing that he's gonna make the Hall of Fame, are we?
Like, I mean, Julio had like 6 drops in a year. I mean, like,
In
Yeah,
8.
Julio Jones is also the greatest wide receiver of the decade.
No,
Starting
that's
from
Debatable
That's
between him
tough.
and Antonio Brown.
Antonio
debatable.
Brown,
What about
DeAndre,
Calvin Johnson?
Calvin Johnson, Julio, those guys are all in the Hall of Fame.
They're in a separate league than Julian Edelman. They're
Yeah,
in a
they
different
are.
league.
I
They
agree
are in a
that all
separate
3 of those
league
guys
and
should be Hall of
Hall
Fame.
of Famers. No
I agree
question.
with
Edelman,
that. Those
no.
3 should be in Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right. I give DeAndre Hopkins a better chance of
Edelman will make the Patriots Hall of Fame, but to say he's in a can say that-
That's funny, Kyle.
or in the Hall of Ayush fame. But when it comes to the real Hall of Fame in Canton, that is a different scenario, and he's not making it.
All right, well, let's move on because that was a solid 25-minute argument. I feel bad for Ayush. We were just going. What is it, Jack?
I'll say one more thing.
All right.
So, like I said, Edelman only has 5 touchdowns in the playoffs in 19 games. A giant wide receiver, Hakeem Nicks, has 5 touchdowns in 7 playoff games.
Why does that matter? How many yards does he have? Does he average 120 yards in the Super
I
Bowl?
don't care, but
don't think he
touchdowns
does.
mean more than yards.
No, they
Period.
don't.
I
Point.
mean, look at
Okay, so-
Devontae Adams. He had
whoa,
17
Mika,
touchdowns in this regular season.
So you just said the Seahawk game, that 1 touchdown was so
What about,
big.
what about his 100 other yards in the game? Do they not
Game
matter?
winner.
So his 100 yards in one game, does that not matter? Against the Legion of Boom see, that's not a comeback. You're doing, it's not a comeback. You're just saying random stuff.
Because Edelman, in no way, shape, or form, Pucci finishes off for me.
Edelman, in no way, shape, or form, is a Hall of Famer.
Thank you.
All right, let's just move on to the Celtics before I keep laughing for like a solid hour. All right, Ayush tried to get onto the Marcus Smart train, and I mean, let's talk about the Celtics a little bit. So the Celtics recently, they just came back from a West Coast trip where they just got 3 huge W's in a row against the Nuggets, against the Blazers.
Wait, can I just interfere for a second?
What's up?
Ayush, when you mentioned Marcus Smart, the other discussion, are you telling me Marcus Smart's a Hall of Famer?
No, I'm saying like it's Edelman's one of those players where stats don't tell the full story.
Yeah.
All right, let me keep going. So the point is,
Just
they
like
beat the
Marcus Smart is,
Lakers.
and you hate Marcus
They beat
Smart
the-
for some reason.
let me finish the intro. They beat the Lakers, Blazers, and they beat the Nuggets after having a pretty disappointing stretch of games before then. So my question is, after they're coming home right now, they play the Warriors tonight, and they got only a couple. I think they have like a month left before the playoffs start. Do you think the Celtics are looking decent in terms of going into the playoffs, or are they still? Is that trade deadline piece that they never got really going to hurt them? And actually, I mean, combine 2 questions at once because we don't got a lot of time. So they also signed Jabari Parker yesterday. off of from free agency. So I'm curious, maybe that's going to help a little bit. What are these Celtics looking like right now? Let's start with Ayush.
I think they're looking pretty good. I mean, they beat the Nuggets and Blazers on the road. I mean, the Nuggets didn't have Murray, but I mean, that's still 2 quality wins. And then they're coming off a win against the Knicks without Kemba and I think someone else. I mean, their defense is finally looking good.
Knicks.
What?
Don't disrespect my Knicks.
I said they beat them. Like, I don't know how that's disrespectful. It's a fact. They
Don't
won.
mention that game.
You
We're gonna
can't
meet you in
change
the
the fact
playoffs.
that they
We're gonna
won.
meet the Knicks will meet you in the playoffs, and they're gonna show you what New York basketball is, and they're gonna pound you into the ground.
Hasn't won a championship since 1974.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. New century.
what-
Jack, let's be honest here. The Knicks are not the basketball team that people care about in New York right now. It's the Nets and the Knicks. The Knicks are like the punching bag. The Knicks. Jack, let me put it this way: the Knicks are the new New York Mets. Just get that through your head.
I'm gonna think about the Nets are garbage. The Nets have the garbage player that is Kevin Durant.
Oh my God! Oh,
Kevin Durant,
Just mute him. Just mute him. Make him
terrible
mute
person
him.
inside and out.
Can we
There we
mute him
go.
real quick?
Yeah, it's
All right. Okay. So first
Okay.
of all, Celtics. I mean, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been playing, I think, out of their minds recently. Brown had a game of his life the other night against the Lakers. I mean, this is the first against the Blazers and Nuggets. Tatum was actually looking like a franchise player. He was attacking the basket hard. I mean, he was looking like a player that actually wanted to be there. We're not just going through the motions anymore. Kemba's looking okay. I mean, he's been averaging like 25 and 5, I think, over this win streak. I mean, Robert Williams hasn't been healthy so far during this win streak, but it will be better when he comes back. Like, Jabari Parker is definitely going to help. Our bench gave up like a 24-2 run against the Lakers, I think the last 5 minutes. So bringing in Parker, who's averaged like 15 points a game in his career, will help. I'm surprised he wasn't on the team because he's a good player when he's healthy.
Mhm.
And I think if this team can just like put this together, we can win against the Warriors tonight. We have a tough game against the Nets in a couple days. If we can just put these games together, win these games, I think we'll be right back in contention with maybe a conference finals exit.
All right, Kyle, go ahead.
All right. So, how are they looking? Yeah, a little better lately, but let me just talk about this big old win streak that the Celtics have. You know, the first game of that win streak was the Knicks. Yeah, I mean, they're decent, but you need to win that game if you're a contender by more than 2 points. Then you go to the Timberwolves. Remind me how many wins the Timberwolves have this year.
Like
You remind
14.
me.
I think it's like 14, maybe
Like
15.
14, 13 or something.
Yeah.
They're
Fake it.
4-3 with no, they're
Fake win.
4-4
Fake win.
with D'Lo and Cat healthy.
No, it's stop.
It's
Fake
a
win.
decent team with D'Lo and Cat when they're healthy.
You should know. All right, that's a terrible basketball team. They have no coach and they have two Ayush, terrible team. They're awful. Fakest 53 points ever by Tatum too.
Still 50
Not to
points.
mention, came against an awful team that is by far the worst team in the league.
50
Other
points against any NBA player is impressive. Like,
No, it's not impressive against the Timberwolves. And then they beat the Nuggets again without Jamal Murray. It's not just no big deal. It's their second best player, Ayush, and that's Portland. Good win.
you can
That's
make a
good
real
win.
argument this year that Michael Porter Jr. is the best player.
Okay, let me finish my point. And then against the Lakers, another fake win. It was the Lakers, without LeBron, without Anthony Davis, fake win. All right, let's see how they
What
look.
about the Blazers? I mean, that's a good win.
I said Blazers was a good win, but I'm talking about there were a lot of fake wins in this win streak that
They
they
held
had.
the Nuggets to 8 points in the fourth. Like, that's not.
You can't deny that you can't go into overtime against the Timberwolves at home.
Yeah, I'm saying that game was close for no reason. We gave
It-
up like an 11-point lead in the last 3 minutes. That was bad.
All right, let's see how they play against the Warriors today with Curry, who's playing really good. Let's see how they look against the Suns or the Nets. Maybe if they go.
Remember, they almost
Figure
lost to
out
the
the
Warriors
picking
in
ball.
last time they played the Warriors, the Celtics, that they
If
almost
you can
lost
at
to them
least,
in Golden
if you
State.
can make the Suns and
San
Nets games actually competitive, maybe win one of them, then we're actually onto something. But they need to be holding on to that 5-4 seed for dear life right now because that's the only way they're going to make things interesting. Jabari
It's
Parker,
going to get easier for coming up after.
Let me ask you something. I want you to rank the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. Like, who do you think they are personally? Not the standings,
Who?
personally.
Who are you asking?
You.
Number 1, I have the Nets. 2, Philly. 3 Milwaukee, 4 Boston, 5 Atlanta.
Atlanta, they don't deserve that. That's the Knicks spot. That's where you're wrong.
Wait, Jack. We're not talking about the Knicks.
No. We are.
Okay.
No, we're not
I'm
talking about the
not
Knicks.
besides the Knicks.
They got hit the mute button.
I want to hear him talk.
This man right here, he's an MVP.
Wait, no. Jack, what team was he on before he went to the Knicks?
Bro, I don't know. I don't watch basketball. I watch my Knicks.
I knew I wanted to get that right. I wanted to do that right now because I knew Jack would have no idea. I knew that he would just come on here, pretend that he's a Knicks super fan, and then
I
I'd
am a
ask
Knicks
him,
super fan. I don't follow basketball.
Jack, name me the Knicks starting roster right now.
Name
Yeah.
RJ Barrett.
Okay.
I want to Julius Randle.
Oh, that's 2. You got 3 more.
Either Obi Toppin. I don't know say his name.
Nope.
I don't know. Emmanuel Quickly. I can name players.
Hey, I guess that, but you didn't really name their starters. Who's their center? He's actually pretty. He's not too bad. Or their power forward.
I don't watch them. I just see.
I know, but Jack. It was on the Sports Jeopardy question. It was one of the
Get
Sports.
back to the Celtics, please.
Yeah,
No, it
I
wasn't.
agree.
No, it wasn't. I still love my Knicks. I may not watch them because I don't know what basketball even is, but I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah, whatever. And Mika, like, I think Jabari Parker honestly is a pretty good signing. Like, it's kind of weird seeing Ainge actually trying to do something in the season to try to like make them better. And honestly, like, if he could revive, he's still 26 years old, and don't forget that. Like, he can revive his career here. I think he hasn't been the same since Milwaukee, but like, if he were to revive his career anywhere, it would be here with a decent opportunity off a bad bench.
He was averaging 20 points a game one season in Milwaukee when he was healthy. I mean, we signed him to a 2-year deal. If he can just get healthy, he can maybe average like 15 points off the bench for us. That'd be
Tom Thibodeau is a better head coach than Brad Stevens. I
Right.
rest my case.
Mika, hit the mute button.
Don't give me Mika.
Jack, just please let Kyle talk. I don't want to mute you. Just
But
please
point is, like, let's see what they do against the Suns, the Nets, and the Knicks, and then if they could go 2-1 in that stretch, or at least make the Suns and Nets games actually somewhat competitive, then maybe you're onto something there. But for right now, I'm not buying in.
We should be able to beat the Suns at home.
This is exactly
With a
what
fully
they
healthy
do.
roster. We should be able to beat the Suns at home.
They put together these bullcrap win streaks, and everybody thinks they're back, and then all of a sudden they just crush you the next
It's
week.
different though. I mean, the Nuggets and Blazers, we blew out the Nuggets by like 18 or something. Like,
Yeah, we did.
without Jamal Murray, that's
But
Yeah,
the,
but, you know,
the
look,
Lakers right now are a G League team with
yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. Without Braun and Davis, they're not that.
the
hey, they beat the
Timberwolves.
Nets.
The Timberwolves game was a disgrace. Disgrace.
All right, well, we'll see how the Celtics play out. I just thought of something that I wanted to go before we end the show. I want to go back to the Edelman debate for a second because I didn't think I had enough. My question is, what if Edelman does the exact same thing that Gronkowski is, retires, then goes down to Florida and goes and joins the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I already have a bet with my friend that that's going to happen.
Oh, wait, let me say, what if he go and they win another Super Bowl with Brady, Gronk, and Edelman? Now is he a Hall of Famer? He has two.
Hell no, he'd be the sixth
So
option.
there's nothing that you're telling me there's nothing that Edelman can do in his career that will make him a Hall of Famer. There's no chance. He's too
greatest
old.
Hall of
Better regular season numbers.
If Edelman goes and wins a ring in Tampa Bay, it means nothing. He'd literally be the fifth option on that team. He would not mean anything.
Edelman, right now, in my opinion, is the greatest slot receiver of all time.
You're an idiot.
Ayush has been muted because because of a.
Are you serious? Like, Ayush, that's just asinine, okay? Asinine.
Big word, Poochie.
Kyle's learning vocabulary today. But I'm just saying, is there really my question, because I know we argued between currently if Edelman's a Hall of Famer, but I'm questioning if anything that he can do, knowing that he's injury prone, he's aging a little bit, is there anything that he can do to become a Hall of Famer in the eyes of Jack or Kyle?
Yeah, unless he comes out of retirement, turns into prime Antonio Brown, then no, it's not happening.
So you really like what does he need to make the Hall of Fame in your eyes? A couple 100-yard seasons?
He needs
games.
You need at least 6 1,000-yard receiving seasons as a whole.
And he's 32 right now. Receivers aren't going to last that long.
No, unless you're Larry Fitzgerald, who's literally inhuman. But
how many years has Edelman been in the NFL for?
let me check. He's been here for a while now.
Probably 10, because if he's 32, I would assume he
All right,
came
call
in
it 10.
21.
He's had 35,
11, yeah.
36 receiving touchdowns in 10 years in the regular season. Sterling Shepard, been here for 5. He's got 20. on that pace, he's gonna sky pass freaking.
Edelman played for 12 years. He had 3 1,000-yard receivers. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not enough.
I've already made all my points. Sorry, they're not going to switch.
You made your points. Ayush wasn't happy I came back to this topic. He wanted to let it go. I mean, we'll see. I obviously we won't be able to. The only thing we will be able to tell is if he goes to another team. I don't think Edelman's going to come out of retirement unless it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just don't see it happening.
I gotta say this.
Thinking if Edelman has one more month left in him for football, like I've literally already I could see it happening. I just wouldn't be shocked if it happened.
I really would not want to see him in a Tampa uniform.
I do. Power of the pirate ship. Come on.
I find it very disrespectful that Edelman was cut from the Patriots. I find that extremely. I don't think you rework his contract to a one-day contract.
Well, I mean, he failed his physical, dude. Like, there's
13 years. It's disrespectful.
Well, they failed his physical. I mean,
I don't find it acceptable to do that to the man who's been on your team for so
still
long.
Contract, they just failed.
I mean, if he's a Hall of Famer, why would you do that to a future Hall of Famer?
He's a Hall of Famer. Why would you
save this cap space?
You don't cut a Hall of Famer for cap space.
Yes, Bill Belichick does. Bill Belichick does.
Hall of Fame player.
Bill Belichick the go walk away for $25 million a year. That's what
because Brady hated Bill Belichick. Brady hated Bill.
No, Brady wanted to come back. Bill said
no, he did not.
Ask Poochie, did Brady want to come back?
Did Brady want to? Yeah, he did. Brady wanted to come back.
He hated Bill Belichick.
Brady left on free will. He left on free will. He wasn't traded. He left on free will.
Exactly. Brady literally all he wanted was a 2-year contract. That's all
he did. But he didn't. Can you agree that he was not good friends with Bill Belichick at the time of the contract negotiations?
No, he wasn't. But if he actually gave him some money that he actually deserved,
not Bill Kraft. It was going to come from Kraft. It was not going to come from Bill.
Yeah, and you know what? They paid the price for it last year because Brady won the Super Bowl and the other team missed the playoffs.
Bill's probably still mad that he couldn't keep Garoppolo over Brady.
Honestly, I don't think so because if he were so mad, Garoppolo would be a Patriot right now because
Niners asking for a first-round pick. He's not worth that.
Well, if Bill loved him that much, he would give him a first-round pick for the guy who he actually thought was going to be the next guy after Brady.
Let me ask you this. So if Brady really didn't want to leave, why would he do that commercial on Hulu? I'm not leaving. And then he leaves like a week after.
Because Bill just didn't want him. I don't know why.
Bill just shoved him out of town. That's why it happened.
I don't know why Bill said no. Bill's like, I don't want
I think Brady's so egotistical and he's heard all the, you're in a system QB. So he wanted to leave and show everybody they were wrong.
And he did. That's what he did. He showed them
left on his free will. Thank you for saying that. I rest my case.
What's the case?
I don't know what the case is.
That Brady left on free will to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah,
he left on his free will after Bill said, "I don't want you here."
Yeah. I think he left. I think he just didn't want to be a Bill anymore because, like I said, he didn't want to hear the Bills. Bill's so great.
Brady publicly said that he wanted to come back. That you can believe it all you want, but I don't know why.
There's a lot of things NFL players do publicly, but they don't mean it. Like a lot of NFL players go and say things publicly, say, "I'm not retiring. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that," and they go and they do that, or they do something that pisses off the fans. They do something to please the fans for a short period of time, then they go do something completely different.
Bill just didn't want to pay $25 million a year. That's the end of the story.
Right, because he literally left knowing that he wanted to prove it wasn't about Bill and it was about Brady. So
yeah.
And I think Bill had the same mindset too. He was like, I want to prove that it's not mostly me. Not
Bill already proved that.
And he went 7-9 with Shaq.
No, but I disagree. Bill already proved that.
Our defense is going to be the top 5 in the year.
What did he prove, Mika?
No, think about it. Brady was nothing until he came into the system. He came into the league with Bill already sitting there. Bill Belichick had a career before Tom Brady was a quarterback. He won 2 Super Bowls with the New York Giants.
Under Bill Parcells and Lawrence Taylor.
Okay, and then he went over to the Browns, and he took the miserable Cleveland Browns to the playoffs. He went over to the Jets, and then he came over to the Patriots.
Yeah, can we just look at that? He took the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs.
Yeah, and he also got fired from them after missing it multiple years too.
It's the Cleveland Browns. The fact that
Bill Belichick
was about to get fired before Brady came. He was literally going to get fired. He was 0-2. After the year of going 5-11, he was 0-2 the next year. Bledsoe gets injured. Brady comes in. The rest is history. If you actually believe the system was Bill, you're delusional. You're completely delusional.
No, I never. Kyle, that's not what I'm saying. I'm never saying Bill was a system. I'm just saying that Bill already had a chance to prove himself.
No, it's not. It's not the Patriot way is the Brady way. It's not the Patriot way.
I think there is a system because Bill Belichick gets nobody receivers from like the Walmart Welcome Center, and they become like superstars.
Yeah,
Julian Edelman.
Jack, why do you think that? Why do you think it's because of that?
What about the linebackers? What about these random cornerbacks drafted in the 7th round? Is that all Tom Brady? Is Jamie Collins, Kyle Van Noy, J.C. Jackson? Like all these guys are not Brady. Like,
yeah, on defense. What I'm talking about on offense. Why couldn't those receivers be good last year? Why weren't they good?
Jacoby Myers and Demir Bird are not good receivers. I don't really understand. They weren't good last year with Brady. They're not good this year.
Ayush, are you going to tell me what Ayush? You're talking about bad receivers. How's Alan Lazard and Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
You're really comparing them to Jacoby Myers.
No, I know, but you're saying bad receivers. Look at them. They were in the NFC Championship game and they can't catch a ball if it hit them in the gloves.
Dude, Demir Bird is literally 5'9" and just runs fast. That's his only skill.
Demir Bird is a 5th or 6th guy.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers at best is a 4th or 3rd option. I mean, Packers love Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and one of the best offensive lines in football, plus Aaron Rodgers.
I'm sorry, but you guys are off on this one. Those receivers were actually decent receivers because they were with Brady.
You're telling me Jacoby Myers was decent in 2019.
I'm not saying
he wasn't good in 2019.
As Shaq said, Brady didn't want to be here anymore, and he was checked out. That's why he wasn't good. Brady was checked out. He didn't want to be here.
Brady didn't want to win that Super Bowl that year. He just didn't. He didn't really care,
dude. Why? Like he just
against the Eagles, he didn't care. Against the Giants, he didn't care twice.
That's different.
Wait, that's different, Jack. That's not what we're talking about.
Oh, whatever. Still, Eli beat you twice. Ha ha. Go Giants. Big Blue all day, baby.
And Jack is gone.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap up the show, right? As Jack says that and leaves. The point is, and he's back. I don't know what the point of that was.
Don't let him in. Don't let him in.
I'll just end this show with saying goodbye to Jack. Jack, we're very happy you made the point right there. Very interesting point.
You boot me?
What?
Did you boot me?
No, you left.
I got kicked.
No, that wasn't me.
You left.
You definitely left. You definitely booted him.
I didn't kick you. I didn't click anything.
I said you've been removed from the meeting.
My hands were not on my keyboard. It wasn't me.
All right, Meek.
Sure. The point is, let me end the show. We've been at this for 45 minutes now. Point is, thank you guys for tuning in. I mean, you guys have your own inputs, whether Edelman's a Hall of Famer or not. Let us know. We're interested. We want to see
delusional inputs too.
If you guys have some delusional inputs, as Kyle wants to say, throw them in. We want to hear them. Remember, dsctv.com. Any other topics that you want us to talk about? Some NFL stuff. Our next show that we're planning on doing is an NFL draft show, hopefully with Mr. Smith. So tune in for that. And hopefully another Sports Jeopardy show coming up in the future. Those are future plans. Thank you, Jack Daly, for coming out, and try to watch a little bit of Nick so you know more than just one player. That would be very good to know.
MVP.
Okay, that's great, Jack. I'm going to mute you now. Thank you to Kyle. Thank you to Ayush. It was a good show. A lot of heated discussion. I'm your host, Mika Gap. I will see you back here next time. Thank you, everybody. Have a great vacation.